What?
Can we be like, what's up? 212? What's that zip code thing? 5, I don't know.
What are you talking about? But I was working at a library at the time, and there was a woman I work with, and she said, now I had this dream about Daniel the other night, and God was telling me to tell him that she didn't know anything about this. She had no idea. God was telling me to tell him that he'll take care of the people. And Daniel was like,
Whoa.
what?
It gave me chills for real cool? Just now.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, Maci.
Hey, Tina. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. What's summer like for you?
It's kind of busy. We have camp almost every week. I mean, you probably have it more than I do, because...
Yeah, there's somebody gone the last week now we don't have, but yeah. My two oldest girls are gone this week, and then that's a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have anybody in that 9 to 11.
Okay, that's the one I'm at.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going with 2 kids, so...
You're volunteering as a cabin mom?
Yeah.
Or teacher?
Cabin mom.
Fun.
I taught last year. This year I'm going all in.
You can do it.
It'll be good. It'll be fine.
How many of your girls stay with you?
2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So which ones?
Piper and Shyla.
Piper and Shiloh.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I always forget. All right. So you have 6 kids?
I have 6 kids. You gotta think about
It's crazy when it gets to the number. You're like,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6, and you have 4.
and I have 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're getting big, but it's good.
Did you ever think you'd have 4 kids
Oh, no.
growing up?
No. Actually, so I kind of did not like children as, like, when I was younger.
Either.
Really?
Yes. Why did you not like them, though?
There was always a lot of them in my house. And
Okay, what do you mean?
So my parents did foster care. So I have 3 siblings by birth and 2 adopted. Well, 2 siblings by birth. I'm one of the 3.
I was going to say, I thought you only had 2. But
2
okay.
siblings by birth and 2 adopted siblings. But I mean, I don't even remember a time pre-foster care. I'm not sure what age my parents started taking in foster kids, but it was young enough in my childhood that I don't remember it. So I just always grew up in a house with a lot of extra kids. And I don't know if it was the stress of that made me be like, oh, I don't think
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know. Sometimes foster kids aren't always, because they've moved from place to place.
Yeah,
They're
there
not
was a
always
lot of
the best.
trauma brought in for that. And
So it could
stuff,
be maybe
and,
that too.
Yeah. And I remember a lot of times feeling a little bit, because I was always the kid that was like good. Like I didn't take much work.
Mm-hmm.
And so feeling like, just kind of one of the mix. And so I don't know what all played into that, but no, I didn't think I would have for a while. Like this was, by the time I graduated high school, I think I'd settled into the idea that I'll probably have a kid or 2.
Okay.
And be a mom. But earlier in, people would ask me to hold a baby or whatever when I was, middle school or whatever. I'm like, I don't want to have anything to do with a kid for a while. My mom always jokes still that it's funny that I've had so many, because she's like, you never wanted to.
That's really funny.
So no, we ended up, God blessed us with 4, and I'm sure it is what it was meant to be.
Yeah.
So it's good. But never thought I would. So what about you? Did you think you'd have 6?
No, I didn't want kids.
Yeah?
My mom babysat, and so we constantly had kids in our house. And I was helpful. Like, I would help with all the kids and everything, but it was really gross.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't handle the poop.
I think that was
vomit.
part of it for me, too.
It's gross. Kids are gross. They got, like, the snot.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. It still grosses me out. I'll deal with it with my own, but...
Listen, even with my own, people were like, you'll have your own kids, and then it'll go away. And 3 kids in, I was still, like, gagging every time I would change. I'm like, this doesn't... They lied. They told me to go away.
This does not get better.
It doesn't get better. So, okay, you grew up not in foster care. Your parents...
Yes, my parents started. So I was not born, but I was raised for the first 10 years of my life in the St. Louis area.
Okay.
So when we were there, they did like normal state-placed foster care stuff. So we would get, we pretty much always had at least 2 to 3, 4, 5 extra kids, depending on the season. And some of them would stay, barely any time at all. They'd be in and out. I hardly have memories of them. And then there was others that stayed for several years that, kind of still feel like a sibling in even the ones that didn't get adopted, have some of those roots. But so they did that till I was about 10. And then one Sunday we had this organization called Show Me Christian Youth Home come and present at our church. Mm-hmm. And they're like, a youth home for kids, for whether it's state placed or private placed or whatever. So they presented at our church and did like a little program, and my parents were like, oh, that's pretty cool. And so we ended up doing that. So we moved from St. Louis to a little town called Lamont here in Missouri too. So I've always been in Missouri my whole life. But we moved to Lamont, and then
your whole childhood.
My whole childhood. I did have a little, you're right. Kind of forgot about that. Yep. No. So my whole childhood was Missouri. So from up till 10, I was in St. Louis. And then when we moved to Showman Christian Youth Home in Lamont around age 10, we did in-home, family care. They call them, my parents were house parents at that point. So the campus has like multiple houses, and parents can either privately place their kids or state placed. And so we did that. There was a couple little breaks in there just because my parents, I think, needed a break or something. Yeah. But they were short. I remember one time we literally moved away for 10 months one time, bought a house, built a house back in the St. Louis area again. I think we had been doing Show Me 2 to 3 years at that point. And I don't know. I wasn't old enough to really know why, but my parents were like, we need a break. And so I thought we were going to resettle and my dad just do the restaurant biz again and in the St. Louis area, but we were only there 10 months and then we moved back to Show Me again.
Okay.
So, but anyway, they did that. Yeah. All the rest until I came here.
And why did you come here? Like what brought you to Central?
Well, my church I attended, it was in Warrensburg, Northside Christian Church in Warrensburg. I love Warrensburg. So they, always took us to Central youth events. So like Crazy Days, In Focus, all the things. So all through junior high and high school, I was coming here once or twice a year for like events on campus. And so
I didn't realize you went to church at Northside.
Yeah.
I mean, Daniel and I lived right next to Warrensburg.
Really?
Yeah, for
what
his first ministry. Odessa, Missouri.
Odessa. That's fun. I don't know if I knew he was there. But yep.
That's crazy.
So Lamont is like 10, 15 minutes from Warrensburg. They're just tiny enough. They don't have that many. So my parents, we went to church in Warrensburg. So. So I, in high school, was coming here a lot. And so this was like one of the main colleges on my radar. And I didn't know what I wanted to do post high school, like for career. I've never been crazy career driven. So at that point, senior year, I was ready to be like, okay, I'll probably just get married and have a couple kids and do whatever my husband needs me to do, support him. But I still was really passionate about my faith and, going to camps and NYRs and all of the things here at Central. I knew there was value to a Christian education and doing that more. So that's how I ended up here. What about you?
How did I end up here?
Yeah.
So I grew up Baptist.
Okay.
I accidentally called it Freestyle Baptist once, so now it's like it was Free Will Baptist.
Freestyle
Baptist. And I was starting to ask questions about some of the things that they believe. Like, you can't lose your salvation. Once you're saved, you're always saved. But I would like read parts of scripture that I was like, but I don't feel like that's what the Bible's saying. And so I would question people and they would be like, oh, well, this is what we believe. Because why would God do that? He's not an awful God. He wouldn't do that. And I was like, oh, and so I was really struggling and I was praying about it. And I was going to go to Emmaus.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I had gone to camp.
Because you're from Iowa.
I'm from Iowa.
Okay.
Yes.
So like Emmaus was never a college even on my radar.
Yeah. So So I'm in Iowa. So I grew up Iowa and I had gone to camp and the speaker for the week was like, if you don't know what you're supposed to do, what God's will is, make a decision, pray over it for a week. And if you don't feel peace, then make a different decision.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to Emmaus Bible College. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pray over it for a week. And in that week, I'm pretty sure it was that week. Maybe I'm ad-libbing that part. But I talked to a 6th grade girl that I had never talked to before or since. And she was like, started talking about her brother who went to this Bible college. And I was like, well, I want to go to a Bible college. Yeah. I'm interested. Tell me more. Well, he does Christian counseling. What I had wanted to do at the time. I didn't end up doing that, but at the time, that's what I wanted. And it was tuition free. And I was like,
that was the game changer for me too.
Tell me more about tuition free. And so I came here and it was like, this is where I need to be. This is it. This is the place.
Did you ever meet that person's brother that connected? Like, that
yeah,
was a student
vaguely. He was married. And so like, I said hi to him. That was, I mean,
you're like, you're the reason I'm here. You're your little sister.
Him and his wife. I was like, I don't know. But no, there were, at that time, there were 500 students here.
Yeah.
Right. So there were, when we came, there was, well, you came before.
What year did you start?
05.
Yeah. I started in 03.
Okay, so it was tuition free?
It was still already tuition free at that point. Yep.
So I
think the biggest year was probably 05 or
it was,
yeah.
That was the biggest year. And it started to go down after that. But so I was like, this is it. This is where I need to be. And it was non-denominational. And to me, I was like, that means that there's no denomination and everybody's welcome.
Yeah.
That was not the case. I had never heard of the Christian church before or any, like, I had never heard of non-denominational anything. Like,
was yours a Baptist church? Like, you actually knew that title, though, for a denomination?
Yeah, Baptist. Yeah. And I knew Catholics and Lutherans. And so I just thought they teach, like, vague theology. I don't know. I didn't know anything. But I would go to classes and it would answer the questions I had. Yeah. And so it was like, oh, cool. God was answering my questions even when I didn't know that there was another place that had the answer.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Or that there was even some of the answers were out there. Yeah. Like, it was like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Very neat.
So that's how I got here.
We kind of skipped your childhood, though. How was...
It was good. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
My mom, I have 3 siblings.
Okay.
2 older siblings. My mom, she actually didn't know Jesus.
Oh, okay.
And she had a baby in college or in high school and then got married right away. She did drugs, alcohol, like all the things. She has a really cool testimony how God changed her life.
Yeah.
She met my dad, had me and my brother, and then thanks. Sorry.
Don't break it.
No, I don't want to.
You're like,
Jonathan's going to tell me I sabotaged it. I don't remember what I was saying. Yeah. So my mom babysat my whole growing up.
Okay.
And
so was it like an in-home daycare kind of situation? Yeah. So similar. Lots of people around.
Yes, always.
Were they all young?
Yeah.
At the point?
Yeah. And I would help because, I wasn't very social.
Yeah.
I was, I didn't know what introverted was at the time, but that's what I was.
That's I was.
Yeah. I'm like, I just want to be home. I don't need to hang out with people. I'm
that's
good.
My Kara. She'll have a day or two of extrovertedness and then be like, okay, can I retreat for a few days?
I'm out.
I'm like, are you sure you don't want to go do something with a friend? I'm good.
It's hard to do that with 6 kids.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Like, sorry, there's always people around.
There's always people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so it was good though. I had a good childhood.
Cool. Right. So what'd you end up getting your degree here at Central in?
Christian education.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yay. Right. Were we in any of the same classes? Probably some.
With Mr. Shantz?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure we were. But I would have been 2 years ahead
of me.
So I was probably in some of those professional classes.
Well, and at first I was doing Christian counseling because that's why I came here. And then I took my first counseling class and I was like, this isn't for me.
That's what Jack was like too, because he thought he was going to do Christian counseling. He's like, I did like one psychology class and was like, nope.
I did psychology. I did that, and I was like, "This is interesting. I love this stuff." And then the counseling class, I was like, "I can't do that," which is funny because I'm married to a pastor. I feel like you're
very good at that, though, too. So what part of it felt like I
don't even know at the time. I think I don't know. I have no idea what was wrong.
Interesting, because I feel like God's kind of even grown you into being that.
I know
person.
Like I do a lot of it now.
You're a pastor's wife, so you kind of.
And then here at Central, as the dean of, now the associate dean of students.
Associate dean of students. Yeah, we didn't get into roles and titles, but we'll get there maybe.
It's fine.
But yeah, I got my degree in Christian education too. And that I locked in initially because, again, I came to Central kind of being like, I don't know what career I'm really pursuing. I know at that point I did like kids because I had started volunteering at my church and helping out with that a little bit or whatever. And so I was like, well, I like kids and the Christian education one, that could be children's ministry or teaching or something. And so that's what I locked in with. And yeah, it was really good. I loved Shantz.
I did too.
He was the best.
I know.
I still have some notes from him that he wrote me, like his little typewriter notes or whatever they were.
Did he ever look up your name and tell you what it meant?
No.
He did it to me. And because I was like obsessed with the names and my name really never had anything at the time. Yeah. But he had looked it up and it meant emaciated. And I was like,
he was like, well, that's not very good.
Well, that's great. I feel good about myself.
When I look up my name, it tells me it's like a derivative of Christina, and then it does the Christian
that makes sense.
But I'm like, I'm not Christina, I'm just Tina.
Just Tina.
So what is Tina without the Christ part mean?
Just tell me.
Tina.
What does Tina mean?
Nothing, apparently. Apparently nothing.
It just means...
I don't even know. I don't know. It doesn't know. It doesn't mean anything. There was times in my life I was a little sad about my name because it wasn't a very good nickname name. Like everybody else would get these short, cute little like nicknames for their name. I'm like, my name's as short as it's gonna get.
Teen.
Yeah, my sister would occasionally call me T. Like she would say, "What's up, T?
T?
Come on,
Teeny.
Teeny." I got that a lot because I was super skinny as a little kid, so it was like the teeny tiny Tina. That happened a lot.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Piper's nickname is Tina. Did you know that?
Did you tell me that
I
once?
might have,
How
yeah.
did that even happen?
So she was like 2 or 3, and we were back in Iowa with my family. And they were playing a game, and they were making up their own name for the game. And she goes, "I want to be Tina." Yeah. And so back in Iowa, everybody calls her Piper Tina.
Tina.
She's like, "I don't know why they call me that." I'm like, "Well, when you were 2 or 3.
This is where it started. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. Okay, so after Central, you met Jack here?
Yes.
Did you meet him here, or did you meet him before?
No, here, just barely. So he was already a student here.
Okay.
And we met out at NYR the July right before I came.
Okay.
So I went like with my high school youth group, but I was already signed up, ready to come to Central, knew I was coming, that next month or whatever. But he was already a Central student here. But there was a girl in my youth group who had graduated a year before me that came to Central, so therefore she knew Jack. And so
who was it?
Tabitha Palmer. I don't know if you know her. She came here the year before so she might have only been here 1 year overlapping.
I think I know who she is.
Dark brown hair and freckles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she dated Daniel's brother.
Really?
I could be wrong.
Frank?
Maybe, yeah.
We just throw it. Hi.
Maybe not. I don't know. That's awkward. Why did I say that?
A little bit. I don't know.
Anyway, sorry. Keep going.
She might have. I was trying to remember while you're saying that if she only got a 2-year degree here and then left, or if she was here 4 years. I can't remember. But either way, that's who introduced us. Her and Bree, but I don't remember if she was around. I don't know. It's been a long time.
I know. It's been a long time. I know.
So we're actually celebrating our 20th anniversary in a couple weeks.
Congratulations.
So I'm excited.
That's exciting.
So we met this summer before I came here, like literally a few weeks before I came through a mutual friend. And then, we're not going to date right away.
Absolutely.
We made it to like October until we called it official. But at that point, it was like, okay, we basically are. We're just tricking ourselves by saying we're not.
Right.
Absolutely. So we dated a year. Got engaged that next summer out at NYR. He proposed out there again. And
That's
then,
special.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like, feels like our place now because of that. So it's fun. And then we, even though it's probably a lot of people's place.
Absolutely. I've never been, but.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. But, and then we got married the very next summer. So I was married to him after my sophomore year here.
Okay.
So things shifted a lot in like my life at Central at that point because I lived the first 2 years in the dorms. And then once we got married, of course, we rented a house in town. And so I was really just on campus for classes and then I was working.
So you were married by the time I got here?
Yep. So that's probably why we didn't cross over as much, too, because I wasn't really in, like, the student life. I wasn't hanging out in the dorms or we didn't have a student center at that point. Where did we hang out?
I hung out in the library.
The library?
I don't know. But I got in trouble a lot because we were allowed.
I'm trying to remember where else was, like, our chill spot at the time.
I feel like we hung out in lobbies a lot more.
Yeah.
Or you would get a room, like one of the rooms
room upstairs,
right? Like I remember once watching.
But I think the boys and girls dorms lobbies were a lot busier at that time because you would either hang out in one lobby or the other. Yeah. Maybe. I don't even remember
what. I hung out in the dorms a lot.
Yeah,
I hung out in the dorms a lot. Like there was a lot of fun happening in the dorms. So.
Yeah, I loved my first 2 years there. So not that I regret marrying my husband, but there's a little bit of regret sometimes of not having a full 4 years
in the dorms
as a college student, right? And so, because it was fun. So I did feel disconnected once I got married and moved off campus because I literally did classes and then went to work for several hours and stuff like that.
I think that's a good thing about the apartments here.
Yeah, it is nice. It allows you to like kind of stay connected and be a college student. Still be around. If you're getting married and stuff. Yeah. So that's what we did. And then I was pregnant with Kirsten, my oldest, when I graduated.
Okay.
So we had her like 2 months after we graduated.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
And then continued to work here for a little bit before we moved to Kentucky.
I remember Jack working here because I remember you being pregnant. But that's like the end of it. Daniel told me Jack coached him.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I know.
Why don't I remember that?
I forget that too. But he was going through old game film the other day.
Funny.
Did Daniel show you?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, the big old baggy shorts.
Oh, yeah, they were huge. Daniel's like, I'm not as bad as I thought I was. I'm not great, but I'm not as bad as I thought I was. So,
it was pretty
but he was here at the time of like Durante and Terry and like all them. They were really good. So
so Jack coached the 07-08 season here. Would that have been it for Daniel?
I don't remember.
We moved in, or maybe it was 08-09. We moved to Kentucky in 09.
Okay.
So I don't remember, but one of those two would have been when he.
I just remember I mostly only remember Daniel playing soccer. I don't know. Yeah. I know he played basketball, but I mostly remember. Did he do all 4
years of basketball too?
No, because he still has 1 year of eligibility, and he keeps saying he's going to use it to come
really
back.
Should. That would be fantastic. He'd have some fun name about, I don't know. I'm not clever enough to come up with one, but the preacher player.
Daniel backtalks, so I don't know that was a good idea. The preacher who.
I'm always very thankful when your husband's in the stands because he makes me feel better about the things I say watching basketball. Gosh,
I just need to stay away from him when he embarrasses me.
Yeah, meanwhile you're up there like,
I know. Yeah. So
yeah, tell me your and Daniel's story then. Did you meet, or
complicated.
You can start at the beginning of Central Time?
I started here 2 years before he did, and I'm not going to go to detail because it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I was engaged, and then I broke it off.
Okay.
And I was friends with Daniel's brother and at the time girlfriend. So
Frank and Kendi were your friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I met Daniel, and the moment I saw him, I was like, that's who I'm going to marry. Like, that's who it is.
That's sweet.
And it took him a while to convince. So
so you were the pursuer for a while there.
I did not pursue.
Yeah.
I just was like very subtle about it. I mean, I don't know. It's fine. We ended up together, and that's what matters.
Yes.
I don't remember. So I came here an extra. I ended up being here an extra year because
I did too.
You did?
Yeah. So I didn't graduate until 2008.
Why? What?
Because we got married and then I needed to work more.
Okay.
And so my senior year, I took it as 2 years instead of just one. So I went part-time as a student my senior year. So and then that's when I started working in admissions for the first time.
Oh, okay.
Because I had worked at Sonic for like 6 years and I was like, I am done.
Yeah.
I did it all through high school and then maybe 5 years.
Okay.
And then here. And then after we were married this is like my one most shameful moment. No, Jack's always like, I can't even believe you did that. But I was just done with Sonic. Like, I was doing it as a married lady, and all the people were it was just rough.
Yeah, I know.
And so I just didn't even go in one day. I didn't call. I just didn't. I know.
That doesn't sound like you.
I don't even know why. I still don't understand what came over me. I think I was too scared to call and like quit, but also really didn't want to go. And so I just...
So that's how you quit? You just didn't go?
I could be still on the payroll. I don't know.
That's awesome.
Like, where's this Tina that's on our payroll? She never did officially quit.
That's really funny.
Yeah. So...
I'd be afraid that'd like go on my file.
I know, right?
Do you have a file?
Obviously, I still live in like fear.
That's really funny.
I was just telling Jack the other day about like we were doing like some question. We were on a road trip, and I was like, let's Google questions to ask on road trips or whatever.
Yeah.
And so one of them was like, what's a reoccurring nightmare that you have? And I was like, I don't know if it qualifies as a nightmare, but it's working at Sonic and like
so
all these
funny.
Orders coming in and then people being mad at me is what I get all the time.
Funny.
And it's been, 19 years or whatever.
My reoccurring nightmare, since we're talking about it, is cleaning the bathrooms here at Central.
Really?
I cleaned the bathrooms for 4 years on 3rd floor foundation, which is no longer. I mean, it is, but kind of not.
Kind of not, yeah.
And I have dreams still where it's so dirty because I haven't cleaned it in years. And so
like, that's kind of where mine comes from. It's like, funny. I just left this job to be undone. So it just still haunts me.
That's so funny.
I was just talking to Meg Burbage, one of our other alumni, the other day when her and Mark were here, and she was a bathroom cleaner in Lang for the guys. Yeah, she's like, at that point, they still let girls clean the guys. And she said it was so gross. So I'm sure one of her nightmares is probably that.
There's a lot of gross.
She was like, it was
There's
the
a
worst
lot of gross in
thing
bathrooms
ever. Yeah.
Oh.
So I took 5 years to graduate too.
Mine was, I was engaged and we were going to go to Hannibal because I had changed my major at that point. And was like, we're just going to get our associates and then we're going to move to Hannibal and I'm going to become a teacher.
Oh, okay.
Because here you weren't accredited.
We're getting your certification or whatever. Yeah.
So I was like, going to do that. And then when I broke it off, I was like, well, I don't want to leave all my people because my people are here. So my degree changed and I stayed. And it ended up being an extra whole year of classes, which is fine.
The classes you lost or whatever.
It was good. It worked out because then I was only not in school for a year, not Daniel.
Right, for him to
We didn't get married until he did 4 years. But then he had like one semester left of like 2 classes. And we went against his parents' wishes and we got married while he was still doing school. But he did them online and it was fine.
It was fine.
Yeah. But we moved to Odessa, Missouri. That's when we moved there.
So that
and
was
he
your
preached
first,
there.
his first job after college.
Where did you guys go after you left here
So yeah, right after we graduated, we worked here. That's when he was basketball coach. Started in web design first, really just because he started building a website because Central didn't have a good athletics one.
He was doing that here? Oh.
So
did he do schooling for that at all?
No, he just self-taught.
Okay.
So, but he had a friend that helped teach him some coding and stuff like that. And so he learned how to build a website. At that point, Central didn't have an athletics website at all. And so he just kind of took it upon himself. He's like, I'm going to build him a website. So he did. And then once he did it, I can't remember who was president at the time, but they were like, hey, you should do this for our whole website because they were outsourcing it or someone was leaving or whatever. And so he took that on as a part-time role. And then the coach left that was here. And so then and he had played basketball here. And so they asked him to coach. And so that's how that started because he's literally has his bachelor's in general ministry. He too didn't really know what element of ministry he wanted to go into, but just kind of fell in love with those elements of things with design and then coaching and stuff. And so yeah, he did that. And then, we were working here for about a year. I was working in the admissions department because I started doing that as a student worker. And then when I graduated, I moved into being like, I think they called it assistant admissions director at the time or whatever. And so I did that. And then we moved to Kentucky. He got a job as the web designer at Asbury University there and assistant women's basketball
And that's
coach.
where you didn't live in Missouri.
That was the only time. So for 4 years, we lived in Kentucky. So when we moved there, we had just Kirsten.
Okay.
She was 9 months old, something like that. And of course, and that took us like 7 hours away from any family. So it was a big move.
And it's hard to be away from family and having kids.
Yes. So it was really hard. At first, when we first moved there, we just took it as like, this is a job we can do for now. It's a really good college. But he was constantly looking for somewhere else to get us closer back home.
Okay.
But then after about 2 years there, we like fell in love and like we had a really good small group at our church. We were going to an amazing church. And then just really connecting with our community and the college there and everything like that too. And so then we were like, okay, let's buy a house. We're going to settle in. We were literally in that house 10 months.
Kind of like when you guys left Show Me, 10 months.
I know. It was literally 10 months. And we loved it. I still am sad that we don't have that house anymore at the location. But at that point, his parents, my husband's parents, were coming back and forth 7 hours, at least once a month, to see the kids. Because then we had 2 kids at that point. So they were wanting to see their only grandkids. And Central called and they're like, we need a basketball coach again. You interested in coming back? And it was a lot. It took a lot of prayer because we really, really loved everything about where we were in Kentucky and the support we were growing. And we liked, while we didn't like the distance, we did like the independence of kind of feeling like we were not.
Yes.
Because Jack was born and raised here.
Yeah.
And just, feeling like we were doing the adult thing. Right. And so, but ultimately decided to come back. And honestly, even the first 2-3 years here, we were like, what did we do? Like, why did we say yes?
Yeah.
Like, this is rough because we were trying to connect again here, new family with young kids. Thankfully, some other families got hired at Central around that time.
What year was it?
And so Kirsten was 5 and she was born in 2008. So whatever that math is. What year does that make that?
Okay, math was not offered at Central.
2013.
Yeah.
I don't know why it always takes me so long to get back
really
to that.
funny.
So in 2013, summer of 2013, we moved back. Found out we were pregnant with our third that summer while living with his parents trying to find a house here. So it was a whole grand storm of like, oh, what did we do?
Yeah.
Sort of thing for
and
a while.
third child can be tough.
Yeah. So we did get a house though before he was born. So that was good. And then just, through the time here, just started developing good friendships, really getting into a rhythm of what life as adults at Central at Central and in Moberly in general was like. Because we had done it as college students, but even in college, we were doing our service hours. So we were going to different little churches and doing stuff. We didn't have our own like home church and connection that way. We debated Timberlake or somewhere in Columbia, all of that, just trying to resettle.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's probably been the last 6, 7 years, 5, 6, 7 years, somewhere around there. We've kind of like settled in
when Daniel and I came.
Right when you guys came. It was that. But just fighting. Like really enjoying it and yeah. And then our kids have made really good connections with friends here, and having that for them, the schools have been great for them, and the friendships that they've made through that has been really good. So yeah, so now we're back. I guess now that we said 2013, this would be 12 years. Never would have thought.
I didn't realize it was that long that you guys have been here. I thought you had come only a little bit before I guess 5 years isn't that much before we got here, but
yeah. If I'm saying the right numbers, I think I am. Jack's going to watch this and be like, you got your dates all wrong. But I know Kirsten was 5 because I remember doing her 5th birthday party out in Kentucky with all her sweet little friends before we left. Because her birthday wasn't until July. But
that's really funny because we did that with Emery too.
We're like,
we celebrated her 5th birthday
before coming here.
And then we moved.
And you were pregnant with your twins.
I was pregnant with our twins.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were out in Odessa. And when I was in college and I had graduated, I had prayed to the Lord, I don't ever want to live in the country of Mexico or in Moberly, Missouri ever again. So Lord, anywhere else, I will follow where you lead me. And
he's like,
yeah, so here we are back in Moberly now. Daniel was offered a job somewhere else. And it was in Kentucky actually. And I was like, I don't want to live that far away from family. Yeah. Like we already live 6 hours. That's going to be 9 hours from both of our families. Yeah. And we had 3 kids and I was pregnant. At the time I didn't know. No, I wasn't pregnant at the time. So we had 3 kids. And I was like, he was seriously considering it. And so I had to get on I literally was on my face before God. And I was like, all right, Lord, I married Daniel. And when I did that, I told you I would go wherever you send me. I mean, other than the 2 places.
Than Mexico and Moberly.
But I will go where you send us. And he decided to not do that. And then in July, so this was in March. And then July, he was asked to apply here at Timberlake.
Wow.
And he's like, what do you think? And I'm like, oh, shoot, I just told God, I would go where he sends us. So I guess it's fine.
Was Daniel okay or eager to come back to Moberly, or did he have some hesitation too?
He didn't care about that. Okay. He always thought once he got into ministry, though, he would never leave. He thought, I'm going to build from here. And so that was hard for him. He was like, do I leave?
The one he was at.
And he was actually, it was kind of cool how God worked through it all. But he had been praying Lord, give me a dream to know if this is what I'm supposed to do, if this I don't know, because I don't want to leave these people. I love these people.
Yeah.
And I feel this is where I'm supposed to be, but if it's not, let me know. And he didn't give him a dream, but I was working at a library at the time, and there was a woman I work with, and she said, now I had this dream about Daniel the other night, and God was telling me to tell him that she didn't know anything about this. She had no idea. God was telling me to tell him that he'll take care of the people. And Daniel was like, whoa. What?
That gave me chills for real cool? Just now.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So through that dream, we found out we were having twins. We needed a bigger place because we lived in a parsonage it was a modular home. So, and it was infested with mice. It was really gross. It was so bad. So we were like, okay, well, this is good. He was working by himself because it was a small church, and he was just doing all the things. He was playing the music. He had people who were helping.
So he already good at all the things before he stepped in?
Oh, he's already good at all the things.
There's never a thing thrown at him that he's like,
I know. I didn't even know he was going to play. He was playing guitar on Sunday. I didn't even know he was going to be playing. He's up there. I'm like, look at that good looking guitar. Isn't it? He can play drums, guitar, bass, all the things. But yeah, so he wanted to work on a team, and he really was intrigued by Timberlake because it's a team.
Yeah,
there's no lead pastor. It's a team thing, and he felt like it was more, I don't know, biblical. And he thought, if this is where I'm called, it's great. And then I was like, I wasn't worried about anything, which is funny because I'm pregnant, and I'm like, that's gonna be fine. And I just felt like God was going to provide us a house, because people are like, where are you going to live? What are you going to do? And I'm like, God's got it. I don't know. I just know he does. Yeah. And he did. Someone who was from the Timberlake was like, I have a house for you. I bought it. I don't know why. My husband was like, we need to buy this. And so I did. And we want to, we have to pay for it. But yeah, so it was
that's
perfect
cool.
house for us and everything.
Perfect house. It is. You got all the space you need. You
Yeah.
can keep having kids.
Yeah, no, we're good. Twins were hard.
Oh, they're so
son.
cute, though. I just love your kids. They're so cute. Emery's grown into such a big girl.
I know.
So that's one of the things that's been a real blessing in being back and being steady for a long time now. Is because I moved a lot as a kid too. Other than that first 10 years, and we were at Show Me for a while, but we popped around houses, and of course there's just the change of dynamic of everybody coming in and out of your house. But being steady here has been really cool because like getting to see all my kids grow.
Have you ever lived in a place for 12 years before?
No. So yeah, never.
Wow.
Like even in childhood, it wouldn't have. None of them would have been that long. So. Yeah, I mean, like the people I said, we moved here, and then a year later, some other employees got hired at Central whose kids were the same age, and so we were able to connect quickly. And then, I'm literally just in memories had just yesterday had little pictures of them, and still one of or two of them are in diapers still, and they're playing in muddy puddles and all this
That's
stuff. And
crazy.
I'm like, now they're serving on our worship team, and they're like big kids.
Yeah.
All, several of them are in high school now, and so it's cool to have that sort of
And be able to give that to your kids.
Yeah, and to give that to them, even though they're like, I don't want to play with him anymore. The whole boy-girl dynamic changes a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah.
They can play together when they're 5, not as much when they're 16. But so yeah, that's been cool, being steady.
So when did you start working back at Central, or did you do that right away when you moved back?
Kind of. Oh my goodness. Someone asked me that the other day on a campus visit. They're like, how long have you worked at Central? And I was like, that's a hard question to answer because there's just been so many little roles. So when we first moved back, that was the other thing that was really prayerful, is we were going to be making a lot less money than what my husband made in Kentucky. And so it was like, I'm going to have to get more of a job. So I guess we didn't even talk about that. But so I graduated with my degree in Christian education. I did the admissions assistant stuff here. But when we went to Kentucky, I got a job at their mega church there that we went to, and they had a preschool program. So I started teaching preschool.
That's cool.
And so I did that for 3 years there in Kentucky, just part-time. And it was perfect because my kids could attend, and because they actually did birth through 5.
That's
so
nice.
even the babies could go or whatever. So I did that and then came back. And the first job I got when we came back was in the bookstore here at Central.
Okay.
I did that until I had Cameron. So it was a little less than a year. And then once I had Cameron, I was like, those hours don't really work out that well anymore. And I think it was the year after that I started working for Sandy at Timberlake Preschool.
Okay.
So
I didn't realize you worked there.
Yeah. So I did that for 3 years.
Okay.
With Miss Sandy, was her assistant. And then that was also nice because it's just a little part-time gig. And I had Central students that would watch my kids for me while I was gone and stuff like that. So that was good. So I did that for a few years. And then I can't remember what I did after that. Oh, I taught VIP Kid for 2 years.
I remember that.
Early morning, teaching kids English that were in China. So that was fun. I liked that a lot because I got my job done before the kids even woke up.
Yeah.
So that was perfect.
Yeah.
But then it got very tiring also because I was getting up at 3 a.m. all the time.
Oh, my
so
goodness.
I would work from 3:30 to 7:30 teaching classes, and then
I
everybody
didn't
was up.
realize you were up at 3.
Because it's I think it's exactly maybe a 12-hour time difference or whatever. So the classes were always when they got out of school in the evening.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a lot, but it was good because it was good money and I could get it done before the kids woke up. And then I did cross-country coach here.
Okay. And
then started teaching classes at the YMCA.
Yeah.
So that was the other side gig I did for a while once I was done with the preschool and VIP Kid. And then after that, now I'm here where I am. This is year 2.
And your job title is?
Now it is executive assistant for admissions.
Executive assistant.
Had taken multiple different shifts in the last 2 years with the things that I do. But campus visits is my favorite part of it because I get to tour all the incoming students around the campus. And I just love Central and I get to talk about it constantly. So that's fun. Sometimes I feel like I'm a broken record and I have to be like, did I say that
did I
to
tell you that or did I tell
did
someone
the other person that already? But it's really fun.
Yeah.
So I get to do that, and I'm the athletics counselor too. So anybody that applies to Central who is an athlete, I process them through our system.
Okay.
So kind of got that role because of Jack being a coach. I already know a lot, and him being athletic director here for a long time. I know a lot about the athletic side of things here too. So it's a kind of a good middle ground for them. So yeah, anybody that applies that's interested in one of our sports or whatever, I'm their person too. So
That's exciting.
And then anything other assistant-y wise that I do.
You do all the things.
They call me the chaos coordinator.
I like it. That's
Brian bought me like a little plaque.
They legit call you that. I like that.
So yeah, what about you? You kind of said your title at Central, but yeah.
Well, I was Dean of Women, and it just changed to Associate Dean of Students. Yeah. So what I would do when I first accepted the position, which was
it's been
4
a few
years ago,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, because I was pregnant with Simon. So no, 22.
I love how all of our
3 years. Yeah, no. What
anytime we're trying to recollect,
it's been 3 years.
What year it was? It was like how pregnant was I pregnant, or how old was that child? It's our mom clock.
Yeah, that's so funny. What was I saying?
You took the job when you were pregnant with.
Yes, it was Simon. So 3 years, and I did it.
He's that old?
He's 2, but I was pregnant.
True.
He'll be 3 in September.
Golly.
I know.
I still see him as like a 1-year-old.
I know.
But I know he's not.
No, he's crazy. Anyway, so I accepted it. I had been already kind of mentoring girls here at Central, like because, Daniel's position, we would have students who would come and they would talk to me about things going on at Central, and I would just help them like through it. And I was praying for them because I felt like they didn't have someone to talk to at the time. And so just that the Lord would bring them someone. And Daryl came to me and he's like, hey, because I was taking Greek classes. I took Greek classes at one point, and Daryl was like, would you be interested in this as the Dean of Women? You would be kind of mentoring the girls, and then you'd be under the discipline. So if they did something they shouldn't. And I was like, that's crazy because it's been something I've been praying about for Central.
Like you were the answer.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't mean for that. But so, Daniel and I talked about it, and so then I decided, all right, I'll do that. And now I get to help with disciplining the guys too, I guess. Yeah. So
whoop, whoop.
that's going to be, I don't know. We are still
playing
talking about like what it will look like. So
making sure we're not making this too long.
Yeah, what time is it?
It's 1:30. What time do we start?
I don't know. 1-ish?
12:45-ish. 1. We're good.
Oh, yeah. No, we're fine. This is just going to be a really long. They can just
fine.
Fast forward.
They're like,
that was me fast forwarding. That's back when we had the tapes that you could just. That ages us. Yeah. I think this whole conversation ages us.
I literally just made a playlist this morning for myself when I was working out, and I titled it 40. And then I went and found all my favorite songs from childhood.
That's
so
a good
I had some
idea.
Amy Grant and stuff in there.
Oh, Amy Grant.
Baby, taken with the
girl.
Anyway, that was fun. It was fun. I was jamming. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Do you have any aspirations for your future then? Do you have any plans, goals?
No. I want to be able to do one unassisted pull-up.
Me too. Yes.
We need to train together.
Yes, we do. I was telling. I've been doing all these videos, watching, right? And so I watched one you break the stick, right? You have to make sure that you break this with your shoulder.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
I've not heard it phrased that way before, but.
Anyway, I can't even hardly hang from a bar, so I have a long way to go.
Oh, it's so hard.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
That mine is more than one, though.
Well, I feel like if I get one, then I can make a new goal for more than one.
That's really funny.
But I always use the excuse that my arms are really long. I was like, I have a long way to go.
That's a really good excuse.
It's
I'm
for you
taking
short
it.
people.
That's
but
really funny.
Seriously, I don't know. I feel like I'm definitely in a mode of just kind of going with what life is giving me right now. Personally, goals outside of the unassisted pull-up. I'm just all in for my kids and my family. Yeah. I don't know if you can set a goal there, but I just want to be a good mom.
Yeah,
I want to be present. I want to be available for them. I want to speak truth to them and, just be a good example for them and the things I do. So anything I try to do, whether it feels like an accomplishment for myself or whatever, I just want to be a good example to them. Yeah. I want them to be like, I want to be like her when I grow up.
Yeah, me too.
So,
yeah.
And I don't want to do things that I'm like, don't do that when you grow up, So that kind of is maybe, I don't know. I don't know if that's a goal, but
no, it's good.
Yeah,
that is. I think so.
And then career-wise here, I just love Central, and I want to be as helpful as I can be wherever that is. Honestly, so if that's in this position right now, that's great.
Yeah.
So wherever they want to use me, I just need to earn a little extra money for my family, and why not do it at the place I love the most?
Absolutely.
So, I love the students here and getting to connect with them, and just the like staff and everybody that works here. I love that so many of us are Central alumni.
I know.
It tells me like, oh, we all like
we care about Central.
We care about Central. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like
that
that.
answers the question. What about you?
It's good.
Some goals.
I mean, other than my unassisted pull up as well, and being able to do a handstand.
Handstand push up.
Dude, yes. I'm not even going to go there, but yeah, I do want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to get my master's. I don't know if that has to do with anything, but I enjoy teaching. I homeschool.
We didn't even get into that.
I homeschool all the kids.
Yeah.
So I'm very part-time here at Central.
Yes.
Very part-time because I have another job of
I was
teaching
going
my
to ask
children.
you that too. Like, how do you balance your homeschool mom of a lot of kids, not just a homeschool mom, but you also have a lot of them.
I do.
And you have a job here and a husband who has a very time-demanding role.
Yeah.
I mean.
So he gets Thursdays off, and I
share him
usually
a lot.
like, that's my day.
Yeah.
Thursdays
so
are
you're
my day
here
to be
at Central a lot on
Thursdays. Yeah. That's my day to be here.
Yeah.
So, and then if there is disciplinary things that are happening or someone needs to talk or whatever,
kind of
then
on
I
call
just,
for those times. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember what I was saying. Oh, but I enjoy, like, teaching is my passion.
Yeah.
Like, I really
So what would you get
teaching.
your master's in?
Old Testament.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Maci could be a professor.
be an Old Testament professor.
I
dreaming.
love it.
So
do.
Daryl keeps telling me I need to just do it. And I'm like, well, but it costs money.
I know.
And so
I've played with the idea of my master's too, because there's part of it that I just want to come back to classes. And
I know, I love learning. That's why I took Hebrew and Greek because we get like one free class.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still that way, but
that Emily was
as
trying to convince me to do
alumni,
it. She's like, you get a free class.
I know. As alumni, we get a free
do it.
class. I don't know if they still do that for everybody, but we were grandfathered in, even if they don't.
I think they still do.
Okay.
At least as of like
We
a
should
year or
look
two
into
ago, Emily
this
was telling me I
for
should
other
do it 'cause
people.
I could get it for
But so I took Hebrew and then Greek,
That's so fun.
and I love Old Testament stuff. Like, I love all things Old Testament. So
Although I was falling asleep reading about the building of the temple this morning because I'm doing the Bible through the year plan thing. And I love it.
But there's just a lot of numbers and a lot of
So right
weird
now
numbers.
it was like this many cubics of this high and some of that stuff. And you read it twice because I read it in, was it
Deuteronomy and Leviticus.
I think I'm in
Deuteronomy?
Kings and
Oh, well, that's something different. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm thinking of the temple. I'm thinking of the tabernacle.
This is when Solomon's building.
You're talking about the temple. I was thinking the tabernacle.
Anyway, it was good, but it's also like 5 a.m. and I'm like, I love you, Jesus.
Exhilarating reading.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great when it's like Psalms and Proverbs or New Testament stuff.
Yeah.
But some of the Old Testament stories though are really
so
really
intense.
intriguing too. It's intense.
Like,
and I always wonder when there's the obscure stuff.
Yeah.
Like what was God thinking? Like why did he put this in
Why
scripture?
is this in scripture?
Yeah. Why is this something what are we supposed to learn from this?
It's helpful to one person. I don't know.
Yeah. Right. Like
No,
some
but
of it,
yeah, absolutely.
or even the repetition of like we have the books that recount the same things, with the building of the temple or whatever else. I'm very curious. I need to ask Suma or you once you get your master's.
Yeah,
in it.
well,
you let me know.
and then my doctorate. It'll be fine. I'll just let
Helper's
you
sitting
know.
there being like,
Just
I
wait another
told you
20
why, Tina, and you don't remember.
I love it.
So much else has filled my brain since then. So
I know,
it's hard to come
so
back to
many
it.
things.
But
Okay, well, I have to go to the bathroom.
so outside of your goal for that, though, wait, I'm not done.
I'm sorry.
Outside of
Okay.
your goal, you
Outside of our
cannot
goal.
go yet.
Outside of my goal of what?
You said the master's was the goal for you. Do you have anything else?
I'm raising my kids
Yeah.
to love Jesus, because you hear a lot about pastors' kids, how they,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just hear the stories.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't,
You want them to have a real, genuine faith.
yes,
And,
I want them to love Jesus.
Yeah.
And I want to see them in heaven someday.
To make me cry.
I know.
Okay.
That's,
It's a true story. I do. I want to see my
yeah.
That's the best goal there is. See our kids in heaven one day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
I'll let you go potty now.
there you go. Go potty.
I cannot. Oh, that's mom talk.
All right, cool. Well,
Bye.
all right, see you.